Let's do a few examples on accrual accounting. Guys, if you hear some funny noises in the background, it is my golden retriever that's snoring away here behind my back. Let's assume a VAT rate of 14% in these questions. Ding Dong provides plumbing services to a number of large organizations in the Sandton area. The bookkeeper is recording all transactions on the cash basis and was surprised to learn that he should have used the accrual basis of accounting. He approached you to help him sort out the following transactions, which took place in January 2015, and let's assume that the financial year end is also the end of January. Now, due to problems experienced in the past with their computers, they've entered into a contract with Compra, a company who provides backup and support services with regards to hardware and software maintenance of their machines. Compra charges a monthly fee of R3,420. An alternative option exists to pay an annual fee of R34,200 in advance on 1 January of each year. Ding Dong selected this option and paid for the services on 1 January 2015. Okay, so let's understand what happened here. What happened here is that they decided to pay R34,200 on the 1st of January. At the end of January, they've only utilized 1 month full of fee. Now remember what the receiver of revenue says. He said, is there an invoice? Now probably here is an invoice, but the second question is, let's say there wasn't an invoice. Let's say there was only an invoice for 1 month. Well, then the next question is, was there cash flow? And the answer here is yes, there was cash flow. Cash flow of R34,200 took place. So if I take out the VAT, it means that my portion of the amount paid was R30,000. So the VAT that I can claim is the difference between the two, R4,200. So here I could have debited computer expenses statement of profit and loss with R30,000. Debited that input statement of financial position with R4,200 and credited bank R34,200. At the end of the month, we are going to say, but how much of that computer expenses must be recognized in the month of January? So we will take the VAT exclusive amount, 30,000, divided by 12, and that gives us 2,500 Rand. So that's the only amount that we want to end up in the expenses up to the end of January. Then we would have debited prepaid expenses 27,500 and credited computer expenses with 27,500, being 11 months times 2,500. Now what I've done in the first journal is I've just combined the two journals with each other. So I took the computer expenses 1 month worth of expenses, 2,500. I took the prepaid expenses 11 months multiplied by 2,500, which equals 27,500. I will claim the VAT, which is the difference between 34,200 and 30,000, debit 4,200, and I will credit bank with the amount paid of 34,200. What is going to happen in the month of February? In the month of February, I'm going to recognize another 2,500. So I will debit again my computer expenses, statement of profit or loss, 2,500. And now I'm going to credit my prepaid expenses with 2,500. How much expenses will be prepaid at the end of February? 10 months times 2,500 equals 25,000. What will the balance be at the end of February? 27,500 less 2,500, and that balances back to my 25,000, which equals 10 times 2,500. Number 2. Ding Dong entered into a service contract with a large hotel group whereby maintenance and repair work will be done for a 3-month period commencing on the 15th of January for an amount of 30,780 Rand. The hotel paid Ding Dong in terms of the contract 50% upfront. The rest of the money will be paid at the end of the contract. Remember, it's a 3-month contract. The required amount was received at the commencement date of the contract. Now, here 2 things has happened. The first thing that happened is on the 15th of January, where we received 50% of the contract price. So 50% of 30,780 Rand I have already received. The receiver of revenue will ask you, was there an invoice? Now, probably no, because there was only a half month gone since the 15th when I started with the work. But then he will ask you, did cash flow take place? And there I have to answer yes. And then he will ask you, how much cash flow has taken place? And that would be 50% of 30,780 Rand. He will tell you then that you owe him the VAT on 50% of 30,780 Rand in the month of January because cash flow has taken place. So once you've handled that side of the transaction, the next issue is how much income now can I recognize at the end of January? I cannot recognize at the end of January 50% that I have received because I have only done a half a month worth of work and that whole contract equals 3 months. So I can't take 50% of that income into my income statement now. So I also have to go and calculate how much income have I earned for this half a month, and that is the amount that I can recognize. So let's do the deposit first, the prepayment on the contract. 30,780 times 50% equals 15,390, and that is the amount that we've received statement of financial position into the bank. The VAT included in that amount equals 15,390 divided by 1.14 gives me 13,500, and that times 40% is 1,890. So VAT output is here. Let's write it. VAT output equals then the 1,890 Rand statement of financial position. Great. The VAT, the 13,500 Rand. Now, you could have, again, done 2 accounting entries, and I will recommend that you do the 2 accounting entries. So what I would have done is I would have credited my full 13,500 against income, service fee income, 13,500. Come month end, a half a month has gone past, and I'm only allowed to recognize a half month's worth of income. But now that half month's worth of income, that will be based on the contract price. So the contract price is 30,780 Rand. So if I take the 30,780 Rand, I take out the VAT, the portion that belongs to me for the 3 months will be 27,000. So how much does that give me per month that I can recognize? That gives us 9,000 Rand per month, 27,000 divided by 3. I am only allowed to recognize in January a half month. The contract only started on the 15th of January. So I'm only allowed to recognize 4,500, 9,000 divided by 2 worth of income for the month. So then I would have debited accrued income and service fee income with 9,000 Rand and credited income in advance for 9,000 Rand. I've done it in one journal entry, so let's check back what I've done. Bank would have been debited with a full amount of 15,390 Rand received. The VAT is easy. The VAT is the VAT included in that amount. So I'm going to take out the VAT output 1,890 as a credit. So the difference between those two is the 13,500. I'm going to work out how much am I allowed to recognize for this month. And it's only 4,500. So I'm going to take straight away service fee income in my income statement, 4,300 Rand. That, guys, is statement of profit or loss. Okay. Bank, obviously, statement of financial position. So the income that I am allowed to recognize, I am going to recognize in my income account. That is the 4,500. What is the remaining amount? 13,500 less 4,500 equals then my 9,000 Rand, and that is my income received in advance. and that is also then statement of financial position. Is it an asset or a liability? Guys, it's a liability. Why? I have received the income or the money for the amount, or I have received cash for work I haven't done as yet. So should I not do the work, I have to repay that money to that guy. I have the obligation to perform still 9,000 Rand worth of work. Ding Dong provided plumbing services to a restaurant on the 30th of January for 6,270 Rand. The money was received on the 5th of February for services rendered. At 31 January, no invoice had been issued as yet. So they provide plumbing services. The amount was 6,270 Rand. When did they do it? They did it on the 31st of January. Were they entitled on that income? Yes, because they've already done the work, so they're entitled on the income. The money was only received on the 5th of February, and they haven't issued an invoice as yet. So the first question is, was there a tax invoice? And the answer is no. The second question is, did cash flow take place as of 31 January? And the answer is no. Did I earn that income? And the question is yes. How much income did I earn? The full VAT exclusive amount I've earned. So I'm going to debit accrued income with the VAT exclusive amount. Why? Because there was no cash flow nor any invoices of 5,500, and I'm going to credit service fee income with 5,500. What is going to happen in the next month? The next month, I'm going to make out the invoice first. So I'm going to use the invoice as my source document. I'm going to debit debtors 6,270 Rand. I can claim the VAT. I must pay the VAT now. It's VAT on income that I've earned. So the VAT included there, 6,270 divided by 1.14 multiplied by 14% equals 770. VAT output, statement of financial position, and accrued income I'm going to clear now because there's no accrued income now. It was replaced by the debtors amount of 6,250. So that one I'm going to take out of my books. Obviously, as soon as the debtor is going to pay me, I'm going to debit bank with 6,270 and I'm going to credit debtors with 6,270. The last one, on 31 January, Ding Dong received the electricity account for the month of January for 17,100. The bill was settled on 4th of February. Obviously, it's an obligation that I have to record in my books. I have received an invoice, so there is definitely a VAT input that I can claim. So my expense account statement of profit and loss will be debited with a VAT exclusive amount of 15,000. VAT input will be 15,000 times 14%, debit 2,100, and accrued expenses would be credited with a full amount of 17,100 Rand. Then next month, when I'm going to pay that 17,100 bill, I'm going to debit my accrued expenses and I'm going to credit bank with 17,100.